We are moving on. So far we have talked about, well, robots, about the fuel of IoT, as well as, well, cars and Audi. But now, yeah, that's already a lot, but there's even more to come. And now we will talk about how to implement IoT systems in your line of production and how simple it actually is. But I'm not going to give away too much, so I'd like to give the stage over to digitalization consultant from KECOM RISINA, Kristaps Enkuzens. Kristaps, welcome to the stage.
Thank you. So yeah, let's talk IoT. So I have been working with like factories like more than 10 years and doing different like digitalization stuff. And over these years, I have like gained some knowledge. I'd like to share you how you can enable and quickly like grow your factory in the digital age, and especially considering IoT. But first, I have to tell you one thing: computers are slow. They are very slow. No matter where you go, whichever like enterprise or company you go to, the computers are just slow. You know, oh, computers, on Tuesdays our system is very slow, or like, you know, we have noticed that like in the evenings it is slower. So, but it is just the way companies and manufacturing company systems are built, because it's more important that there is like stable and constant and correct data instead of being blazingly fast, which is kind of important but doesn't really fit together with the modern life of IoT and the internet. So not only computers are slow, but also actually changing something in a factory setup or in any enterprise is slow. You have to go through processes like of validation and certification, and sometimes like when you go into and you want to optimize some production line, sometimes it's quicker just to actually skip IT altogether and instead just like do something like without them, validate if it works or doesn't work, and only then make the big like IT investment in some new system or some customization. And so if computers are slow and process of actually changing something is slow, are also our measurements slow? Like when you make some improvement in your factory, no matter like small shop with like two tables or big conveyors, right? If you just change something, how long until your first like measurement of like how much are you producing in the upgraded line, right? How much until like first statistics graph that it's, oh, it's getting better, we tried something out, it's getting better. And how much until your first actually measurement-based improvement, right? Because if you change something, you see the graph and you say, oh, we could do even better, right? So these things tend to be slow. But then we go home, and at home we have like IoT devices. We have like smart mirror which shows you like the weather like right now, right? And that's fast. We have a smart coffee mug like that like starts beeping when the coffee getting cold. You have like the smart doorbell, like somebody is at the door, your TV turns on and shows you somebody is there. It's not like in a company you would, if there would be a smart doorbell in your production in the company, it's not like on Friday you get an Excel report of all the people that were at the door, okay? So, oh, wait, but where are the people? Like, are they still at the door, or what? Did somebody let them in? Getting a report on a Friday is way too late. You need the information right now. So IoT at home, we are very spoiled. We have everything like right away, no waiting for reports, for processes, for everything. But IoT is so quick and good at home because it's just good enough. It's not perfect. Sometimes your smart mirror doesn't show the weather. Well, it's all right. You just look through the window, right? So it doesn't really affect your production or your line doesn't stop. It's just, okay, yeah, today the smart mirror doesn't work. Sometimes your smart coffee cup doesn't work. You still drink the coffee, it's a little cold, but it's there. So how can we bring this quickness and information into your production? Well, there are some ways that you are probably already doing. Like, if for example, you have 5S, right? That everything needs to be in the right places in your production and everything like so. You could make some really big Excel files, like make me an Excel file of all the labels that we need in our production. Somebody will print it out, and then we'll put. Of course, that doesn't work, right? Because some labels are missing. You need to print something again new. So a big system actually doesn't improve anything for you there. Instead, what usually you can do, you can just give to your employees some small printer, and they print out all the missing labels themselves. They don't need to like order and wait for a week for them to come back or something. So you have this perfect labeled system everywhere, and you don't have to like wait for anything. And it goes even more further in the production itself, because no matter what production you have, small couple of tables or a bigger one, you constantly try to change something, improve something, right? The throughput or the cost or quality, right? And you need some measurements. Usually how it happens is, let's say on a Monday you figure out, let's move something around today, okay? So you move something around. Of course you don't have any measurements. All you have is like, you know that you produce, I don't know, 1,000 paper clips per week. That's the only measurement you have from your ERP systems or whatever. So you add somebody by the table to count, okay, how much are we producing in this new setup, right? The new improved setup. Of course, that takes them all Monday. Tuesday you have the measurements, and by Wednesday you get back a Excel file of the status, how much we produced with the improved setup. And let's say something looks off. It's actually like you're producing less even that you are producing on average. So then it's Thursday, you go, find out what's wrong. Oh yeah, need to move something around even more. And it's already Friday, so you have spent a week by just like trying something out. Just because you don't have like the correct measurements right now. I'll contrast that with how it should be if you have the data right now. So let's say the story of IoT. If you would have some IoT device which you just add to your improved setup. Let's say you do the same thing, you move something around in your factory, and you just add small counter, like an IoT counter, just there. Like if you can add it quickly, then by the end of the day, you already see the graph, how is it going in the first day. And I'm talking Monday. We like in normal registrations, that would be like Wednesday, some Excel file in some email, right? But if you have an IoT device, you just log onto the dashboard and see it right away. So again, if there is something to adjust, you can already do it Tuesday morning, and that's basically it. It's like you're reducing the time on how you like improve your factory from weeks to days or even hours. So IoT allows you to more trust the data and not yourself. Because if you don't have these sensors like everywhere, like added to the things, then you're basically working like on feelings. Because as a production manager or improvement manager, you still have some idea. Yeah, this should be faster, right? This definitely should be like more like valuable for us. But then you need to validate it, and to validate it, I think IoT helps very much. So the sensors, you might be asking like, Kristaps, what are you talking about? Where we can get these sensors, right? And where are they? You probably know where to get a smartwatch, but what about these sensors? And the sensors, remember the information is about getting good data and getting it quickly. So if you just Google some super specific thing like like rotary CNC 4-axis sensor for speed measurement weekly, you'll probably find something, maybe like one company in Italy producing it. And then you'll wait for it to arrive. And in a month, you can start measuring that one machine, right? So that's not what you want. You want the sensors to be like universal, something that you can connect everywhere. They have to be like simple. There was this one company, like they started out with just a single sensor, motion sensor. Like it senses like vibrations. And basically you could put it anywhere. Like you look at a machine, is it working like full time? What's going on with our process there? Just add this vibration sensor, and in the evening you already have a graph on how much was the motor running, how much it wasn't running. Next week you take the same sensor, move it over to some robot arm, put it there, and you can see how that robot is performing, how much is loaded and everything. And sensors like this are available usually from some partners, and they even provide you with like a dashboard where you can see what is how's it going on, and you can see it quickly. That's the main thing. That's the difference between like having IoT and not having it. I'll tell you a story about this one, about a cutting machine. So it was a factory doing something with like metal like sawing and welding and so on. And they get a new machine to cut some smaller pieces of metal, right? And they don't really know where to use it. There is like there is no huge order of now like cut small pieces of metal, but they have it. So they just put it in one corner, and I suggested we just add a sensor there, just to see like the utilization of it, because yeah, we have some production orders for that, like a couple per week, but we don't really know what's going on with the machine. So we just add a sensor. It doesn't take much time, it doesn't cost much. We just add it there and forget about it. And it's just sitting there gathering data, right? In 3 months, when everybody has forgotten already about the new machine, it's just standing there from time to time producing something, a new huge order comes in, something that we can use this machine for. So now there's a question like, how much can we produce per week? How much can we produce per day, per hour, right? And without a sensor like this, you wouldn't know. You would just like look at your like maybe production output graphs, right, or whatever you have in your ERP system, and you'd say, okay, yeah, last week produced 17. What does that mean, like the 17? Like, are we producing like every hour? Is there more? Can we produce 18 or 200, right? But if you have the graphic, just comes, you just go, you analyze in the dashboard what's possible, and you have so much more like confidence. Yes, we can do this. We can produce like this much or that much. So yeah, find some partner and get some sensors. As well, where can else we get some sensors? Well, we can build them ourselves. It's actually very funny, but basically, like in every company I've been to, there are at least 2 to 3 guys who actually in their free time are doing something with Raspberry Pis and Arduino and so on. In the same company, there might be 3 guys doing this in the evenings or just as a hobby or something. They don't even know each other, right? But there are, and people are happy to do this. And you don't need much to monitor. You need just like somebody to create something where data can be gathered, right? This example here on the screen was actually made by a friend of mine in a company. And this was for monitoring CNC machines. And again, I'll tell you why it's maybe smarter to add an IoT sensor to a CNC machine instead of relying on some reporting like you usually do in a case like that. So the company had like 3 CNC machines, 1 Italian, 2 German, right? So different companies, different machines. One does something a little bit faster, drills something faster, the other moves a little bit faster. And you know, like in CNC machines, you usually can get some information out about their runtime and everything. You maybe on a floppy disk or some USB drive or something like that. But you can get it out, right? There's possibility to do that. The thing is, it's not really like comparable, right? Like how you will compare, like are the German machines considering the runtime the same way as the Italian ones? You can never know. So instead, you take a device like this and just give it to the shop electrician. And so what he did, he just connected the orange lights from these CNC machines, the running lights, right? When the machine is running, it like has a like orange flashing light. So they just connected these to this like data logger, Raspberry Pi thing there. And you suddenly have totally different CNC machines from different like producers, and you get the same data like gathered together for graph. And yeah, we found out that actually like the one machine is way less utilized than the other 2, and we could rearrange some shifts and do some other things for improvement. That's something you would not notice by just like, yeah, other ways. You have to have the real-time data and to react very quickly to this. Yeah, continuing on the sensors. I mean, like, you have to be creative. The andon lights, you know that system of the andon lights. Like, if there's something wrong with that, turns on like the employees can turn it orange, so somebody runs and helps them with this specific line or something. The red is when it's stopped, so then it's totally bad. Yeah, now for a while you can already buy like one with an antenna, which is just like additionally to displaying this light and doing what you already do, it also like gathers the data. Why, again, is this quick to implement? Because it's not non-intrusive. Nothing will happen if you don't get the data for a day, all right? The light will still be orange. You will still fix your production problems and everything. It's just, okay, you will be maybe missing the data for a day. You know, internet was slow, something else happened. But it doesn't affect your production. So that's why you can move like very quickly. You can just like, let's add this, add this. As long as it doesn't like, in any way work against the production, you're allowed to do lots of things. It would be a little bit crazy if you go into the like machines or the saws and so start doing something inside. But additionally, sensors like this we can add, and we can be very creative. I mean, if we don't have the andon lights, right? Just take some smart light bulbs and replace them in the factory machines inside the normal old-fashioned lights with these. And even some of them can give you a graph of how much has been the stuff working. Just replace the indicators with the light bulbs from IKEA. Bad example, but something like that. So you can be creative and do that. And there are industrial sensors as well that you can add. For those, of course, you would need a partner, somebody. You can walk around here and look, and just on the internet in general. There are like devices which in old times used to be with wires and so, like proximity sensors. So now they're like Bluetooth and Wi-Fi and Zigbee and everything. So you can start replacing them, and it's very quick to do, and you should be like, yeah, free to do it. Just remember what I'm talking here about is IoT. There's even a special new term invented called IIoT, which stands for Industrial IoT. That is the traditional sensors. These are your like traditional CNC machines. Now they are connected to Wi-Fi, so it's IIoT, right? And those. But those would be a bigger project. You wouldn't like just go in and replace all your production with some sensors, like replace all the like end switches to Wi-Fi connected end switches. That might harm somebody even, like so that is something different. But with IoT, you can add sensors wherever you want to and however you want to. Okay, so I will quickly tell you. So I'm trying to convince you that, yeah, just add sensors everywhere. It's gonna be fine. There's one thing missing in IoT, and that's this letter S, and I'll tell you what it stands for. And then how you can walk around it. The sensors, they are not smart. They're just sensors. Like they show you like this data. What's smart is what you can do with it. How are you reacting to this data? How quickly are you looking at it? But the SEMs, they will not invent anything new or revolutionary to do. They are just sensors. You have to be the smart one to figure it out. Also, what that S means is security. The sensors, the standards are very low. Like, they are very strange. You get sensors from China and connect them, and you have to be ready to connect them quickly, right? If you want to add a sensor in your factory in 30 minutes, you have to be ready to add a sensor in 30 minutes, which is from China or somewhere. Here's a test you can do. Find the sketchiest, like the worst you could imagine, like IP camera from AliExpress or eBay, and give it to your security guys in IT and say, yo guys, I bought this, put it in our corporate network now. All right, so what will happen? Like, well, first of all, in some cases, there will be like security precautions, right? They'll say, no, we cannot put this behind our firewall. No way. We are not ready for this. You need a separate network, you need separate internet and everything. So, all right, you have to prepare this separate internet and have it ready so you can always add these devices from China or whatever. Because all they need is internet. They don't need your like corporate network or anything. In the world of IoT, your company network, you're basically just an internet service provider. That's all you are. You just need to provide internet, and very quickly. And it's also not Internet of standardized things. You will buy 3 sensors, and they will come with different data. One will send you in the Excel or anything. Of course, you can always see it in their dashboard, right? But at some point, you will want to like correlate the data from one sensor in one room to some other totally sensor in another room. And there, you need to be prepared to work with Excel and Power BI and have the knowledge how to do it. As well, yeah. So regarding the Power BI, one more quick thing. You also have some data warehouse. You have some business intelligence systems already for your manufacturing or anything, right? And usually the guys are like very like, oh, our system is so good. During 2 hours every night we can download gigabytes of data, analyze them, and you have all your 100,000 production orders analyzed. That's not enough for IoT. You have to be ready. You have to talk with the BI system. Can it handle like millions of records every minute, right? You can add like measurements everywhere, and it's very nice to have a BI system where you can integrate it together with your existing. And so look into if they would be ready for huge amount of data. So yeah, in your next like factory meeting, management meeting, wherever you're trying to introduce something new or maybe change something. Well, maybe think and say, why not we try that thing that Kristaps said on the stage in the RIGA COMM? Let's add some sensor to this process and see how is that actually going. It's not so hard. All you need is a sensor and a little bit preparations before with your network. Just add it, and you'll have a totally new view on how you produce and improve very quickly. Thank you.